waiting.
Welcome to episode 2 of Casual Mode, your weekly relaxed retreat into pretty much anything we want to talk about. I'm here with my second, possibly third, realistically fourth best friend. Hi, Karl.
Hello, Daniel.
We've taken out any reference to where you live this week, just so I don't accidentally dox you and then give myself a load of work to do in editing. So,
not because you were worried about doxing me. It's just that it's just what you just want to streamline the release process of the podcast.
Quite literally the whole point of it. It was nothing to do with you. It was entirely due to me not really understanding how to edit properly again after not doing it for a long time. So yeah.
Well,
been okay?
Up quick.
Yeah, you're fine.
I've been really good, thank you. Really good. Yeah, enjoyed the fact that the football's back. Gives me something to focus on in the week rather than my work. And
as well as your work. As well as your work, not just
as well as my work.
Yeah. What you're playing at the moment?
I'm playing at the moment. I am nearly finished with God of War Ragnarok. I'm in like the kind of end game now, so going well. Really good game.
How do you know it's the end game?
What it's called? It's called God of War Ragnarok. I've just unleashed Ragnarok.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That'll do it. and
lots of the characters have just said to me about half an hour before my saves up to, if there's anything you want to clear up, now's the time to do it. Which is normally a telltale sign that that you are going beyond the point of no return.
If anybody said that to you in real life, you think your life was under threat. Well, if there's anything you want to do, like your affairs, maybe best now's the time to, like, do you know something I don't know? I'm only 37.
Only? That's... I mean, if you die, at 74, then you're halfway there.
Yeah, I am. Thank you for that. We've got 6 or so talking points this week. First one, let's just jump into it immediately. So Brighton are currently top of the Premier League, mate. What do you feel about
that? I think it's beautiful because if you look at the other side of the table, you'll see the blue shite. So they're only there because of beating Everton, which is fantastic. James Milner plays for them, which is great. 23rd season in the Premier League, which is unbelievable. I think they're good for it, but I think Everton are really poor. So we'll see. Long season.
Yeah, they didn't look great, did they? So what was it, 3-0? They lost in the end. Yeah,
3-0.
Yeah, I don't know, man. They bought a couple of players, but then they were giving Liverpool fans quite a lot of shit for not buying. Yeah, actually, you know what? Good point here. So you're a Liverpool fan. Why are you a Liverpool fan? You live on the Wirral. It's an easier question for me to ask, considering I support Chelsea, but I might as well ask you first.
Because my dad was a Liverpool fan.
Oh, right, okay, cool.
Easy, innit?
Not Tranmere fan?
No. The majority of my family were Evertonians, so maybe the rebel in me fought back. Tranmere, I went to see loads of Tranmere games when I was younger. Really enjoyed it. Back when John Aldridge was the manager, but no, I wouldn't say I'd supported them. I look out for the results, but that's it.
So I stopped.
Why are you a Chelsea fan, Dan?
Well, I'm a Chelsea fan. I was born in Germany, moved to London. First ever match I went to was Chelsea match. There you go.
Right.
That was it.
And you not want to evaluate all options before making a choice?
Not at that age. Can't remember how old I was. Maybe like 4. But yeah, I just remember Tor Andre Flo heading it into the top corner. One of his few goals that he ever scored, and that was it. Sold. So.
Which of your current 30 first team players would you swap for Tor Andre Flo?
After yesterday's result, Nicholas Jackson, because I think quite literally the 2 attempts that he had, he should have put into the top corner. Equally as frustrated by his performance as I am with you on EAFC 24's clubs at times. So Yeah, but let's dive into it then. So you watched the entirety of your match and the entirety, or 90% of the Chelsea match.
Yeah.
Were you happy with Slotty Boy's first game in charge? It seemed to be decent football. First half was a bit trudging through mud.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. I think the main positive I think to take out of it is the kind of Arnie Slot saw an issue and he fixed it in some would say a brutal way, but you know it's good to see that he hasn't got fear.
Is that Kwanzaa?
To make changes? Yeah, Kwanzaa at half time. Which Paul, he's only young, isn't he? I say he's young. He's 21, 22.
Got a bit upset, didn't he? Like,
he just looked a bit perturbed on the side, but I think it's good that he saw that and it made an immediate change. Not necessarily that. It could just be that the players go, oh, second half, we should probably kick on. Or it could have been because we had to play at 12:30, which you know how much Liverpool love playing at 12:30, and so they were still waking up. The coffee hadn't kicked in. So, but no, good result. Good, well played. We played well at times. So, yeah, positive signs. Signs.
That Trent pass was good.
Which one?
Oh, the one that got basically should have been an assist, but slipped it through to Salah. It was perfectly in Salah's stride, and Salah just had to guide it in front of Jota. That was the first goal. That was the first goal. I remember that. What do you think of Chelsea yesterday?
At times they played really well. Like at the start, I thought they were competitive. I don't think City were exceptional, but
no, they look slow, didn't they? Without Rodri,
but
just different side.
Yeah, you know, Pep tongue in cheek said before the game, you know, that he's not motivated now. He's going to be motivated the last month of the season. But I mean, actually, if you know you've got the sword of Damocles of 115 charges hanging over your head, I mean, that's quite hard to find motivation in when you have the threat that your season's a write off anyway. So it'd be interesting to see how they perform over the coming weeks and months. Because if, let's say, for example, they get an 80-point deduction as has been mooted, then even if they got 100 points, they're on 20, they're going down. There's no way. There's no way that the three teams are going to have less than that. So, but they deserve it because they're dirty cheats, just like Chelsea.
And Liverpool.
Anyone want to buy a hotel?
Anyone want to buy at least 20 players? It did make me laugh the other day when it was like there was a meme the day before and it was like hundreds of people in like a gym. I don't even know where it was. Hundreds of people in a gym. It was like, oh yeah, and somebody retweeted it and gone like, oh, Chelsea's first team dressing room or whatever. And then the very next day, some genius in our fucking social media department put out a video of all of our squad in their actual gym, and it was worse than the video that they showed the day before as a meme. And it was just like 100 people just trying to fit into this like mediocre sized gym. And you know, what the hell are they doing? Who thought that was a good idea to release that? Basically, shop window.
Maresca's got a difficult job there. Like,
oh yeah,
you bring in all those players. Is it him who's signing them, or is it committee based? Is it Todd Bowley going, yeah, new toy?
No, well, we've got our sporting director, haven't we, in that kind of model now, similar to you guys, where money ball it, the player comes up as a solid enough investment, and they're going to go for it. But we're stockpiling talent, which is basically what Abramovich used to do anyway.
True.
Where you build a model where you've got all of Europe and South America's best talent under your club. Then you sell them at a profit, which then funds basically the operating costs of the football team and the first squad. The problem is we're buying those players. We're not buying the first squad, the first team players. Yeah. So
you got Pedro Neto, which
Neto's a good buy. Yeah. Scandinavian for value. So we got Pedro Neto. He's decent. I'm happy with that as a purchase. Like João Felix pretty much looks like a done deal as of this morning, so I'll be happy with that. He's a decent player, and it's pissed Raheem Sterling off royally.
Saw that.
Which Maresca's come out and got the backing of the club today, which is quite funny. Where obviously Sterling's camp, which who the fuck saying when they said he'd got a camp, like fuck off, get out of like modern football. If you've got a camp of people there, like who have to go and make a statement instead of you putting a little snotty tweet out, then get a grip of yourself. But anyway, yes. So Sterling's camp came out and said, "Oh, we're seeking clarity from the management as to why he's been left out, and he's been committed. In pre-season, he turned up early to do individual set. It's like, give your head a wobble, mate. What's going on?
You ready for me to do something bold?
Go on.
I mean, if you Raheem Sterling, this week you're going to have an inquisition as to what's happened. Inquisition, Dragon Age's game before the upcoming title, the Veilguard.
Are you trying to segue out of football? I've not finished on football yet, you cheeky bastard.
I'll
segue this. I need a segue sign from you. I need like a random, like, you need to put that up or something, and then give me an idea that you're gonna segue out, and then
I will tell you what. When I want you to do a segue, I'll do like a genuine laugh as opposed to a forced one.
Okay. Okay. But yeah, I thought the performance was fine. I thought City didn't look out the blocks very quick, and I think we'll be okay. If we put a couple of these new signings in, we get rid of a couple of the bro years, like Chalobah seems to be going, Gallagher's gone or will be going. If we get rid of that and we've got a trimmer first team squad, then it should be okay. But it's quite a bit of talent to come back. Palmer looked off the pace, and Nkunku didn't look on the pace. Jackson looked off the pace.
Yeah.
The rest of the team, Lavia was the best player on the pitch.
He was.
Caicedo looked sharp. Enzo looked okay. I think the two centre-backs worked well. Colwell's a revelation, which is great because he's not playing out of position this season. So, yeah, it'll be good. No one else really caught the eye, I'd say, over the weekend. I know we got Leicester and Spurs to play tonight. We're recording on Monday. But no, I don't...
I'm trying to think. Sanchez.
Yeah.
Suspect.
Not good enough. I mean...
But you signed the keeper, didn't you?
We have. Can't remember his name because there's about 40 players' names.
There's so many.
There's been so many. But he doesn't look like... He's a first team keeper, but he looks like a good backup. But that's when we bought Sanchez, I was like...
Ramsdale.
Yeah, Sanchez is a good backup again. And I'm like, well, to Maresca's style, to really play that ball quick and move out from the back, which we did well at some times, but all of the opportunity, all the times we did it well, it wasn't through Sanchez, it was through the two wing backs. Like, because again, I think Gusto is fantastic. Probably get a lot of game time this year because of Enoch James, and then you've got Cucurella again. Seems to have come out completely out of his shell. Although the Haaland thing came back to bite him in the arse, which is quite funny. But yeah, look, I won't talk too much about Chelsea. I think we look okay, and we look better than last season. So I'll reserve my judgment.
It's very early days.
Very early days. But
and the transfer window is not closed, so you'll probably sign another first team by the time that shuts.
Yeah, that's fine. So segueing out of that, you know what? Just to piss you off, I'm not even going to go into it. Only because we've been laughing about this for the last couple of weeks. Let's talk about Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker's situation is absolutely fantastic, and it's pretty well documented online, but I'm going to try and recite exactly what the hell has happened with this guy, and you can keep me honest, Karl, to your best knowledge. We're not a news channel. We are an entertainment podcast.
Hello magazine.
Hello. We are talking factually about this. We're talking about basically conjecture online and the fact he's been to court multiple times. So, Kyle Walker has had a mistress, and then he also had a wife, and he had 2 kids with his wife. This is the backstory of it. Kyle Walker then proceeded to obviously cheat with the mistress and persist with her, then got her pregnant, then broke up with her when the news broke about the two of them having it off, and the wife was like, "Gibber off, please." So he did. And then the mistress decided to take Kyle Walker to court because she is, let's say she's a lady that likes the expensive things in life. So whereas normal people would be going, you know what I want? I would like a simple baby bag to pop my nappies in and my wet wipes and all the things. She was like, no, I'd like a Louis Vuitton. I'd like to go and get a Celine bag that's worth $3,500. And all this is written into the actual court justification of why she wanted so much money. And she's basically trying to pump him for tens of thousands of pounds in child maintenance on the basis of needing these really, really gallant things in life. So anyway, that's the kind of context. So she wins at her court case, but the judge finds Kyle Walker to be very honest, very open, transparent, and basically agrees with his solicitor that the amounts that she's asking for are quite high. So then basically the judge goes, no, you can't have that. I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but how much was it? Do you remember?
Absurd.
12
I think
grand.
It was
something obscene. Oh no,
I
no,
think,
it was
didn't
like
she want
7.
she wanted like 20. He came back and said, no, you can have 5. And then Kyle Walker said, I'll meet you in the middle, I'll give you 11.
Yeah, so something like that.
So he went above and beyond what he was required to do.
Yes. So she wasn't happy with it. I think it went back to court, and then she got like 12, let's say, but 12k a month in child maintenance. Bearing in mind, like the minimum for most other people is like, I don't know what they pick up per month, per week, but like 40 quid a week or something stupid. It's like the base level amount for most people. So like she's getting a tidy sum of money there. So anyway,
That's very low. 40 quid a week. Bloody hell.
something
What's
stupid
that
like
pay
that.
for?
Oh, like
We're in a
fuck all.
cost of living crisis.
Yeah, well, literally, and a cost of inflation. So anyway, so like Kyle Walker then basically is in a situation where like he's got his wife back, he's paying this money out, but he's earning hundreds of thousands of pounds a week anyway, so it's probably a drop in the ocean. So we get right, okay, that's fine. So his wife is now pregnant with their 3rd child.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and then the mistress, all of a sudden, appears again, pregnant. Guess what? It's Kyle Walker's. Got her pregnant again. Had another relationship with the same woman that took him to court. After she'd taken him to court, got her pregnant again. So the story now, and I'm reading this off a website I shan't mention, but they don't tend to be the most true. So the headline is Kyle Walker is living in a Man City owned apartment block despite having 2 mansions after being kicked out by wife Annie following paternity scandal. I think that's very, very funny. So it continues. Manchester City footballer 34 was exposed earlier this year for fathering a 2nd child with influencer Lauren while married to Annie. But the lease has since run out on his house, and the sportsman has now been forced to move into an apartment owned by his Premier League club. Source told Mail Online that Kyle is living between the apartment and his family home as he and Annie continue to work on their relationship. The source said Kyle is between homes at the moment. As the relationship is still being worked on, he has taken the decision to split his time between both places so as to be close to work and training whilst maintaining a relationship with his family. Absolutely brilliant. So now Lauren Goodman has now leaked a series of text messages she claims were sent from her ex in yet another alleged underhand tactic aimed at the footballer. She said... she was described as difficult, unreasonable, and demanding by a judge during the child maintenance battle. And it emerged earlier this year that Kyle had secretly fathered a 2nd child with her. So anyway, I need to find these text messages because they're absolutely fucking hilarious.
Are they on your phone?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, she sent me them before. So first off, they're on Snapchat. He's a 34-year-old man, and he's messaging on Snapchat. His comments are, so her comments were, I'ma live my life with our kids, doing what I want, you enjoy yours. He came back, if it's not this, it's that. If it's not that, it's money. She said, bye, fuck your money, fuck you. He wrote back, honestly, it's mental, Lauren. You're not that girl, you're not that girl.
Oh, God.
She replied, I am a mum of 2, is what I am.
Okay.
And he replied...
Like teenagers?
He replied, yes. And she screamed, grab that. And she wrote as a comment, so he knows I'm not that girl, and he says I'm a good mum. Not that I need his approval, because I'm a great mum. Absolutely fucking obscene. And I love that this is just now playing out in the public forum. That Kyle Walker's got an absolute mad relationship going on with his wife, who the poor lady has now got to deal with him having 2 other children that during their marriage he has now had with a nutcracker, by the look of things.
They both sound as bad as each other. He's an imbecile. She's probably just as bad. I mean... It's just insanity, isn't it? To go through the court process, to have somebody basically, have you pay them 12 grand a week, and then you go, I've got a great idea. I'm gonna go back to that. It's very silly.
It's just so funny, and it's the fact that it's quite quiet about it. Nobody's really like it's not like a Colleen Rooney kind of situation, but the fact that he got back with the same woman that took him to court immediately, then got her pregnant again, and then she's taking him to court again. Oh, it's absolutely brilliant. There's no way segueing out of that and football into gaming because it's casual mode in it, so we're just going to segue out of it in a casual way. I want to talk about the Steam OS, Carl. We're jumping around a little bit, but Steam
That's
OS,
fine.
and
Yeah.
I don't understand this fully, and it seems a bit strange to me, but Valve are essentially confirming that they will allow other platform, specifically in this article on IGN.com, the Asus ROG Ally handheld, which is a direct competitor of the Steam Deck. Am I reading this right? This seems silly.
I don't think it is silly. Because essentially, if they get their customers to run SteamOS on there rather than running Windows, yeah, okay, they're facilitating a competitor's selling the hardware. But I mean, Valve probably sell the Steam Deck at a loss anyway, because they want people to have access to the Steam store as like the first port of call. So essentially, you'll get a secondary market of people using your store. I think it makes perfect sense in that respect. I think the only downside, and I think this does help. The only downside is if you're an ROG Ally owner currently, is that there are some games that you can't play on Windows. So, FIFA or EAFC, for example, because of the anti-cheat, doesn't work on Linux. And SteamOS being Linux-based, that's an issue. But I think from Valve's perspective, they should look to do this as much as possible.
It is interesting. I suppose it's similar to the kind of mooted rumors for a while, where it was like, oh, we're going to be getting Game Pass on Switch. Where it was like the relationship between Microsoft and Nintendo seemed to be like improving, and similar between like Sony, I guess. It's, will the platforms essentially transcend hardware and then just be their own platform within the actual, I don't know, generic hardware that you could just buy? Because ROG, like, you'd think eventually will make a better handheld than a Steam Deck, and then probably you'll get something from, I don't know, Nvidia, or you'll get something we haven't already. From
they had their handheld for a while, didn't they? They had like an Android-based one. Yeah, I think that linked into the GeForce Now service. I think. So I didn't have it.
The competition will shift in handhelds, and it'll be more, well, who can actually run the facilitated platforms better than the other, and who's going to have the better screen, because it always feels like it's come down to that as well.
Well, yeah, I mean that's why the community did the Steam the Steam Deck HD, the screen upgrade.
Oh, the OLED now.
But so they got the OLED one, but that's an official one. But then there was a HD version where it's like, I think it's a 1200p screen rather than a 720p or an 800p one. Okay. And recently I read that Valve are now supporting that kind of community sourced screen. I don't know what you call it, a third party screen in their official releases. So I think you're right. I think at some point, like the hardware will just kind of they'll all converge, and you see this pattern of like Sony, Microsoft buying game studios. They've all got their own streaming services. Maybe you're right, and the hardware itself is going to become immaterial, and it's you end up just continuing this kind of paying for the access to those games instead. On the Steam Deck now, you can run xCloud, you can run Chiaki to play your PlayStation remotely, just like you can on the PS Portal. So it's already there. People are already doing it, and maybe you're right. That's how it's going to kind of channel over time.
Yeah, I think we're going to touch on it a bit in terms of like digital options ahead of like physical options as well, because it definitely feels like the way that the industry is kind of moving. But when you've got handhelds, I guess it's going to be a case of bang for your buck, because you want the highest possible output from a handheld, but at the cheapest possible cost. And that's the same thing, that's why Nintendo have been successful. It's not because of the oomph in there, but it's because the price point is slightly superior to what the Steam Deck originally started at. And obviously it had 5-6 years on it, and it had a library that's a bit more, let's say, matured before the Steam Deck kind of hit pace. I think now what would be, optimal for consumers would be something that could have Nintendo as an app on there. Something that would have Sony games, PS Now, whatever you want to call it, stupid name that they've got, Game Pass on there, and then Steam on there, and then potentially as an outsider the Epic Store as well, because there's some things on that you can't play on Steam anymore. But I know I'm talking.
They'll all be locally though, right? On Epic Games, you run those natively on the device, because some of the services are like remote services where the hardware requirements are obviously a lot lower, because essentially it's just an internet connection and how good your screen. Whereas Epic, that requires a bit of bump.
Yeah. I mean, I still like the idea of a model of having something in the like. I like the PS Portal, because haptics and all the things aside, like the idea of having the PlayStation in the house and running that in another part of the house is amazing. Now, if you could do that over the air, and we had, like, one of my requirements would be very, very low latency. Because it just bothers me. But when I'm playing on the Portal, there is latency there, but it isn't a problem, if that makes sense.
Are you over LAN or Wi-Fi?
It's technically over Wi-Fi.
So I moved my PlayStation mine's on the Steam Deck, not on the Portal, but I've patched mine in now directly to my router, and now I've done it like the TV's on. I've got my Steam Deck in hand.
Yeah.
My Steam Deck obviously on the Wi-Fi, but the PlayStation is not.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
Forgot about that.
Yeah. It's almost impossible now to tell the latency wise. It's very, very good. So I think the technology is so close to being there where it's imperceivable. But it's interesting. Logitech brought out a handheld like a year ago now, where it was effectively underpowered compared to the stuff like the Steam Deck, and it was only there to act as like a conduit for like your remote gamers, whether that's local over your internet or a cloud streaming service. It had a higher quality screen, really lightweight, good battery life, and that I think that's an avenue. Like there may be some handhelds which are heavier that run hotter, the battery life is worse, or you might just have a streaming only option. And maybe that's like the two routes that it goes down. But it's good. I mean, I feel like the Steam Deck. Well, people who like the Switch might argue this point, but I feel like the Steam Deck has created like a new wave of innovation in that area, because they've kind of proven that if you do have a really good handheld product which is flexible, that they'll sell like hotcakes.
Yeah. Well, I use the analogy a lot in work, but like technology in general is a Metroidvania, where an idea is fantastic, but you need to probably power up over time. So obviously you've got that x-axis of time where you're kind of going over and over, and then eventually the idea that you originally had 7 or 8 years ago, you probably need to revisit again, because the reinvention of that with the technology and the stuff that you know now, and the lower costs of parts and all that kind of shit, means you can execute on that idea a lot better. So I think not Nintendo, sorry, but Nintendo have always been prominent in handhelds, that, and again, a fantastic model of keeping it low cost for that reason. Whereas when Sony tried with the thing that you're looking at, and the one that I'm looking at behind me as well. This one. Yeah. That absolutely gorgeous little thing. It's still premium, it's still fantastic, but the cost of it was too much, and then the adoption of the games behind it. Not many people were keen on providing genuine entrance for that market. Whereas now, and Sony have probably found this with the Portal, if there's an appetite to keep the AAA premium quality games and you can play it within that space, okay, there's limitations, but there's still an appetite for it. That Portal sold like hotcakes. It did well. So I think you'll probably see something like a fully fleshed Sony PlayStation Portal, that is able to download games as next iteration, and they'll dip the toe in a little bit more at maybe a slightly more expensive price point, and then they'll probably adapt from there. But yeah, I never thought we'd be in a world where Sony are supporting that over their own PSVR 2 headset, but evidently that seems to be the angle that they're going down, because that's where the money is. But yeah, you're right, Steam started that. The Switch kind of was the genesis of the most recent resurgence, but I think, like you said, the ability to do more with the Steam Deck captured a hell of a lot more creativity from communities as
Yeah.
well.
But
So
certain things had to happen as well, though. So like, this is going to turn into like the CPU chat from last week now.
do it.
So
Some nerd out there will start budging off, so it's okay.
So there's Proton, which is, I'm going to get this wrong. So people who are more technical are going to get this right. So Proton is like a DirectX translation layer. So that's why there's like a 99% efficiency running games on Linux compared to Windows now. So it's not perfect, but it's really good because they've like translated DirectX in some way or another. I butchered it, but so that had to happen so that games could run more reliably on Linux. Because for years you had there's a Chinese company called GPD, I think, and they produced handhelds, which are basically just mini PCs with a controller built in on it. They were quite expensive because they didn't have the kind of like the oomph that Valve do to kind of go, well, you know what, we're just going to sell it as like a loss leader. We'll get people through the door, and then they're in our ecosystem. They can buy games. We'll make our money that way. So they couldn't do that. But then now they don't even have to worry about like Microsoft licenses or anything like that. Then again, they are a Chinese company, so they're probably not going to pay them anyway. But I just feel like a lot of things had to happen, and then Valve got to a stage where look, they had the Steam controller before. That's obviously had an effect on the Steam Deck in general. You've got the haptics of the touchpad, for example, which I'm pretty sure is the same technology that they used in the Steam controller. I just think they nailed it with the Steam Deck, and I think the Steam Deck 2 next year, if it comes out when it's forecast, I mean, it's probably going to be really, really good.
Yeah, I think it will. Have you tried anything on your TV yet? Any of the apps? Game Pass came to LG.
I tried GeForce Now on the TV. I had a trial of Premium because I think the problem with my TV, I've got a 4K TV, but it's a generation too old to do the 4K streaming, so it only does 1080p, which I think is a bit rubbish because it's a 4K telly. So if I had a generation newer, I could have had 4K streaming, and I think that is spectacular if you can get that.
Yeah, I had a go with Starfield on the Game Pass app through the LG telly. I think I've got the slightly bigger version of the same year that you have. I think it was 1080p, but I'll have to double check. But that's pretty sure it's the same TV. Can't remember. We've had this chat before. But same challenge. It didn't look great, but it ran relatively well, and I had a DualShock hooked up playing Game Pass on an LG telly, so I was still a bit like, this is cool. But the latency on that was worse than what I get on the Portal, and I get it's designed for gaming, the Portal, so it's going to be different, and it's going to use a lot more clever ways to try and make that game run efficiently. But the telly, it's that thing, that Metroid example again. I feel like we need to go and unlock a couple more doors, get a couple more power-ups, and come back to that idea, because like that is the best, isn't it? You don't have to have a box. You've just got a TV working with whatever game that you want to be able to play. And then if Nintendo do want to go down that route of weakening their IP, because that's what it is, and bring their own app out, and then you've got a Game Pass app, and you've got a Sony app, and you want to subscribe to those things just like you do Netflix or Prime, like, why wouldn't that be the optimal route to play games? And then you can lift and shift that and put it into an handheld, winning. What that does to the market and what that does to development costs and what it does to the ecosystem of how games are made, I don't know. And I'm not really the right person to ask, because I do care about game preservation, but not as much as, you know, some people in the periphery. So, on the periphery and on games, let's talk about vintage. So I think it's probably fair to say you've grown into your vintage collection over the last...
I'm a hoarder, is what
you become a hoarder.
Hoarder.
Hoarder. Over the last 12 months or so. And a lot of it has been, you've been going into the loft in your parents' house to try and dig out your old Game Boy games and all the Pandora's box of collections that you used to have. And then also at the same time, you seem to be purchasing quite a bit. But why are you doing it?
I get a sense of nostalgia from it. It kind of like takes me back to those times. Like I went through a phase of buying back all my old Nintendo 64 games. So my mum messaged me and said, "Oh, I found your old Nintendo 64. Do you want it?" I'm like, Well, yeah. Don't throw it away. Why would you throw it away? But like loads of the old games, we must have just given away to some other kids, or probably traded in when I got a PS2. So I've gone through in a drunken bad decision and bought all my old games for a couple of £100. Played them once, which is fine. But it's just nice to have them because like they're only going to go up in price, aren't they? At this stage, they're not going to get cheaper. They're already like, I don't know. I think the most I paid for one game was £35, which I can't even remember which one that was. But like, okay, are they going to get more expensive than that or less? Probably more. So I might as well just get them now. And it's just nice to have. Look at them and go, ooh, I remember I used to play that when I was 5. Now I'm 32.
I mean, I'm not a massive vintage cat. I've still got my old SNES, and I've still got literally a plastic bag full of all the games that are on it, and the nostalgia of it isn't lost on me. But when I go back and play them, I'm like, you know what, I'll just emulate it. That's something I'd go and prefer to do rather than actually. And I feel like
you own it, so you can.
Yes, I own it, so I can. If they are still the laws, which never felt like they should be a law, but everyone's like, go with it. I mean, still like Pokemon cards. Like I went back and bought the original collection because I wanted to have that in the house, and similar logic to you. I was like, it's an investment as well as having something there that I used to own, or as Sophie call it, clutter. But then when it came to like collecting, I like steelbooks from like modern games, but from not historic, but from vintage stuff. I kind of like box art, so I bought the Japanese version of Super Mario World a while ago, and annoyingly I kind of left it in the conservatory, so the cover bleached, so I want to rebuy it. But the box art on that was just cool, and the back of it was like the old fashioned days where it was like an explanation. The booklet that came with it was a little bit of a brief on the story. Couldn't read fucking any of it because it was in Japanese, but again, the art of it like was something I enjoyed having on the wall. So yeah, I'm just kind of, I don't mind looking at vintage, and we've had a couple of ideas of things that we want to do in terms of like rooting around charity shops and seeing if we can build out collections. But I think that appeals to me, but the part that doesn't really is just going, all right, well, I had these games when I was younger, I want to rebuy them. The art of it, yes. The music from it, 100%. But actually owning that game and then playing it again, I see it as like wasted time. And I'm going to really piss off like vintage owners here.
No, don't play it. Just buy it and then just go, nah, I've got it. That's it.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, I like that part. I just don't get the other stuff. Like when people are genuinely playing these games. Sorry, one of the children's having a meltdown right outside my door. So like the difference is like, again, I just couldn't go back and then play that game, and then make it part of my routine in the week to be like, I'm going to go and play Ocarina of Time, or I feel like I should play Wind Waker again. Like, it just never appealed to me to go back and replay games. But I'm sure there's loads of people that are probably listening. If you do actually enjoy it, keep me honest. Like, why do you? What's the pull of it? Is it the memory that it had? What's the pull? What's keeping you going? You've got a lot of handhelds that are retro as well, which kind of ties into the previous topic. But any favourites? Any favourites you've got there?
3DS. Like the 3DS is amazing.
Still play it? You were playing that a while ago when you went on the last boat trip.
I do play it. I like playing Mario Golf on it.
Yeah.
And I just think it's the 3D side of it. I know the 3D side of things was lambasted back in the day as a bit of a gimmick, I guess, but. And people have headaches and stuff. I don't get headaches, but
I never got a headache from it. Yeah, I never got.
Did you ever play it?
Yeah,
just leave it sat there.
No, I did have one 6 years, 7 years ago, and I played it quite a bit, so never really got a headache from it.
I just think it's great. I just love the 3D side of it. It feels novel. And I used to really love Mario Golf on the Game Boy, the black and white Mario Golf game. And that's better than the new one because it's not fancy, but I listen to the old noises. Actually, this is going back to what you said a little bit before. I remember the sounds it make. I've actually still got it. I remember the sounds that it used to make.
Yeah.
And then you kind of get like a nice little sentence. It's like a nice little, oh yeah, I remember that. It was cool. The 3D one's good.
Fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
What would be your favourite handheld?
Oof. Probably still the Vita. Is it? Actually, you know what? Probably, I think the PSP might shade it just because I had Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 on that, and that was like a technical marvel at the time. That felt like I don't know, a bit of a leap in terms of like gaming because I was able to play that. Oh, I think I lost you for like 2 seconds there. What were you saying?
Yeah, you froze. I was going to say, I'm trying to think if I think my first ever handheld, maybe the second, which was really quite an interesting story. Was I got the Nokia N-Gage when I was like, I don't know, 10 or 11. Do you remember
that? The phone as well as the
like the taco one. Yeah, so I didn't have any friends to call. I don't think I even had a SIM card in there, but I had like 3 or 4 games that I had to play on it. It was great fun.
That sounds good.
Like I had Tomb Raider, which was good. Like was Red Faction on that? I don't remember. But I think it also had Tony Hawk's as well. Good game.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, I mean, for the PSP, Tony Hawk's and what was the other really prominent game that I enjoyed playing on that? It'll probably come back to me. It might be
Twisted Metal.
Nah, it wasn't Twisted Metal. No, it'll come back to me. But I like the was it the UMDs? Was that what the PSP took? Yeah, I really like them. They were pretty cool as well. Like a really cool idea, and you could do loads in terms of like artwork on the front of them. There was some really cool, wicked looking ones. So I'll admit to occasionally run into CEX, and I'll usually amble down to see if there's any of the old PSP games on there that I used to have. So
there's definitely some in the Liverpool shop, and they've got the movies as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the WMD movies. Different conversation there.
Hans Blix.
Yeah, we got him. Games turning 25 in 2024. I include this image. It just
see that.
Yeah, made me feel very
cool,
old.
that.
So you got Pokemon Gold and Silver.
I've got that.
Spyro.
Great game.
Was that the original one or was that? It was. I think it was the second Spyro game. Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. Biohazard, if you're in Japan. Siphon Filter, that was a good game. Did you play it? No. It was kind of like Splinter Cell.
Never had the original PlayStation.
Yeah, it was like PlayStation's version of that. Classic, Chrono Cross, Soul Calibur, Crash Team Racing, that was banging. Yeah, really good. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, the original.
Yeah, great game.
Still up for debate as to which one the best is. I still think 2 might just shade it, but I had more core memories of 1.
I preferred American Wasteland.
We've had this argument, yeah.
We have.
Mario Golf on the N64. Yeah, great game. Donkey Kong 64.
Yeah.
And a game I never played, considering I was a huge Pokemon fan, but Pokemon Stadium as well.
Got that up there.
I've got it up there.
And I've got the add-on thing as well for the controller, so you can put your Pokemon game in it and play your Pokemon games on your TV.
We've got an absolute bitch of a cycle coming up next week. It's not even that bad for you, isn't it? It's quite. What's your like average like long distance that you do if you went on a bike ride?
Now, just to commute to work. I think the most I've ever done, I did 100 miles in a day, so twice the distance we're going to do. That was painful. So
we're going up to where is it? Past Preston.
It's past Preston, near a place called Whalley, Whalley.
Whalley, with friend of the show Pete, back from Switch Island days, so he's going to be coming. But yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. But we should pack the N64 CRT and play Pokemon Stadium when we get there. I'm sure we'll have space on the bike.
No, well we can take our Steam Decks and we can emulate Pokemon Stadium.
There we go. Let's do that.
Because I own the cartridge, so you know.
So legally, you can do it. I also own it as well, so it'll be fine.
Can you provide evidence of that?
So we talked about game streaming services. We've talked about Kyle Walker. We've talked about Valve. Let's very, very quickly touch on a game that neither of us, I think, had much attention to, but Black Myth Wukong. So we've got a review roundup from VG247.com. So I think you've been a bit surprised about how good this looks. It's probably fair to say. Seems to be scoring pretty fucking well over on Metacritic. So you've got IGN gave it 4 out of 5, Games Radar 4 out of 5, RPG Site 7 out of 10. You've got PC Gamer gave it 87. Like, it seems to be thereabouts an 8. It's probably fair to say.
I think so.
It's a Souls-like game set with the what's it called? Is it Journey to the West storyline? Something like that. I can never remember what the name of it. But yeah, it's with that kind of background and story to it, which seems to be appealing. I think it surprised people a year or two ago, because it's out of a Chinese studio, and this absolute gorgeous like AAA game kind of came out of nowhere. Fair to say, but you were impressed by the look of it, yeah?
Yeah, I'm a bit of a softie for good graphics, because I'm not the most intelligent gamer, I guess. So I think it looks brilliant. I mean, some of the characters look a bit weird. Like, I saw one character which had a huge neck, one which had like a deformed head, and I'm probably not going to like the game because it's going to be too hard for me, because I'm rubbish at difficult games like Elden Ring. But it looks so nice. Yeah. So it's one of those that just because it looks good, as soon as that comes on PS Plus, I'll play it for at least half an hour.
So there was allegedly do's and don'ts sent by the studio, and they were like a guideline for content creators. I don't know if you saw them online, but I'll quickly read them out because they're quite funny. So do's, only one of them: enjoy the game. Do enjoy the game. Okay. All the don'ts, of which there are 5. First one.
Can you reread that positive, but like in a passive aggressive tone of voice?
Enjoy the game.
Okay, there we go.
And the don'ts. So do not insult any other influencers or players. Do not use any offensive language or humor.
Mm-hmm.
Do not include politics, violence, nudity, feminist propaganda, fetishization, and other content that instigates negative discourse.
Ooh, the main character is an ape.
Yes.
Is that the kind of the fetishized aspect that they're worried about?
I had no idea. Maybe.
Okay.
But the fact it's feminist propaganda, it's great. Throwing that in there as negative discourse. Just don't put that in the review. Do not use trigger words such as quarantine or isolation, or really on the nose, COVID-19.
Right. Okay.
From the country that brought you Black Myth Wukong and allegedly COVID-19. Imagine that as a review headline.
Or as a redacted political figure would say, the Wuhan flu.
The Wuhan, yes. Yeah, your favourite.
Can't say his name, obviously.
Your favourite political figure. And then the final one: do not discuss content related to China's game industry policies, opinions, news, etc. It's basically just don't talk about China in the review.
Okay. I mean, it's a bit weird that they think that the censorship that exists in China would extend worldwide, and they can impose that on other people. Especially when this game is going to be in the public sphere, it seems a bit naive to think. But fair enough.
Well, that's what I quite like it.
People shouldn't include misogynistic opinions in reviews of a video game. I agree with that.
Definitely not. Again, it seems to be rumor. I don't know if it's actual fact, but yeah, the feminist propaganda seems to be the part. Even IGN have picked up on that 4 hours ago. They've got an article about that now. Oh yeah, Forbes has confirmed it is real.
Right.
It is real. Fantastic.
Okay. What's their opinion of the Western world that they think that they need to include that? What have we done wrong as a society that's the perception of us? I think we should look at ourselves. We shouldn't look at them. We should look at ourselves and see how other people see us, Dan.
Potentially. Yeah. Potentially.
Only messing.
Even more... Thanks, mate. Even more concerning the fact that they thought it was acceptable to send that out at the start of a review period. But again, even with that, it's Metacritic at the moment. Just looking at it, so on PC it's 82.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. It's all right for a game that came out nowhere.
I think I read one article which said that the the specs that you need to run it are quite demanding. So somebody commented that they're worried that the PC is going to melt. So I'd be curious to see how it performs on the current generation of consoles.
Yeah.
And obviously in the last podcast, for those avid listeners of our 2 podcasts, will know that Dan talked about the potential for a PS5 Pro, for example.
Very good point.
It's interesting. Might be needed for 60 FPS.
I think you would need it for that. Okay, so we're coming to the least important part, the last topic that we haven't discussed. You tried to segue into before I battered you back down again. Dragon Age Veilguard. So that is out this year, correct?
Yep, fall 2024.
Created by a little-known publisher and development team called BioWare. So, obviously, their classic release, Mass Effect 3, did fantastically well recently.
Great game.
Wasn't called 3, was it? What was it called?
Wait, Mass Effect, do you mean Andromeda?
Yes, that was it, 4. Is it 4?
4.
That was 4.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah, of Andromeda fame. I'm going to let you talk about this first, because if you watch the
I've watched some stuff.
trailer
Yeah, I watched some trailers. Yeah, I've seen a few of them.
Someone that likes graphics, what are you thinking?
I don't like the art style. It's fine. It's a bit Fortnite-y.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the biggest issue, because I think a slight change of graphical style is not the end of the world. It still looks pretty. It's just a bit weird. It was a bit dumbed down. I don't know. I loved Inquisition, which is a semi-controversial opinion, because a lot of people say that it's not the best. But I couldn't get into the other ones because the graphics were dated at the time that I tried to play it, which is possibly why I liked Inquisition, because was it 2014 when that came out? I thought that looked amazing.
Yeah.
But they've dumbed down other aspects of the game as well, so you can only play as like the one character now. You can't switch between the people in your group, which that annoys me, because I used to like playing as the range character, but I'd already spent like an hour or 2 with my guy, so I couldn't switch over to, was it Garrick? I can't remember his name. No, that Garrick's bloody Mass Effect. What the idiot. Idiot. Cut that out. But no, I loved the game last time around. I spent so much time playing it. It was one of those games, it reminded me when I was younger, where like you'd finish work and you'd jump on straight away. You'd wake up early, you'd play it. I loved it for that reason. So I'm hoping it gets me, just like Inquisition did.
Yeah, I mean, I won't dampen that, because I think that's the great thing about series of games, and I know that's why quite a lot of people were disappointed with Mass Effect Andromeda, because it just didn't continue that lineage of like amazing releases from BioWare. I think, truth be told, from what I saw, it didn't look great on the trailer. And
how dare you?
I know. And in terms of like the RPG elements, it felt like they tonally tried to not steal is the wrong word, but they've lent very heavily into the fact that Baldur's Gate 3 was such a huge success, and that worries me a little bit, because I think when you've got similar looking elements in there and similar looking enemies in it as well, compared to what is now in, I never remember the name of the actual octopus boys that are on the front cover of Baldur's Gate and the main kind of enemy, but whatever they are, the mind virus, worm people, whatever they are. But they look like something like that at one point, and just even the dialogues felt a little bit more, right word for it, a little bit more relaxed compared to previous Dragon Age games. It felt like Dragon Age 1 was where I came into the series, enjoyed that a lot. I never got into Mass Effect. I tried it, and then Mass Effect 2 really tried, because Pete tried to force me to play it, but again, just didn't click with me.
Best game ever.
A lot of people love that game. But yeah, and then Dragon Age 2 was fine. I think it didn't review very well, remember, in hindsight, but I really enjoyed it. So it was more of the same, and kind of didn't mind that. I think that was at a point in gaming where technical leaps were almost like expected, really heavily expected, and it just didn't happen with Dragon Age 2. But the story was still okay. And then never played Inquisition, which got, I think, Game of the Year that year, which I do regret. Tried to go back and play it, and it's a little bit too dated now for me to enjoy, and it doesn't look great. So I was like, okay. Would I play Veilguard? I think if I can find enough out about the story, and I don't think the trailer did that very well, or at least the one that I've watched. It just kind of gave me like merged together cutscenes from parts of the game rather than saying here's exactly what the story's going to be and here's why you should play this and the sense of impending doom. It was more like a Monster Hunter game where it's going from character to reaction to these fucking massive dragons just turning up, and I'm like, I remember the first one, the dragon part of it and the element of that was almost like kept back. Yeah, it was like a massive deal. It wasn't thrust straight into your face, similar to like Skyrim, where it's like you're on the cart and then immediately there's a dragon there. And this felt like, again, let's look at all the really cool bosses you're going to be fighting right away to get you attracted to it, rather than an RPG. To me is, no, let's buy you into the story, let's buy you into the characters, let's do more of it. So to your point, yeah, it's a bit surprising that they're not allowing you to play more than one or not switch between them. I haven't even seen what type of mechanics the game's got yet. So
they released a gameplay.
Have they?
I don't know if it's a gameplay trailer, but there's certainly aspects of combat that I've seen. And to be fair, the combat looks pretty good. Yeah, the story's important. I thought that's what was engaging about Inquisition, is the story like really grabbed me in, and it wasn't just because I really fancied Cassandra in it. It was because it was really like an engaging story. So yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna buy it on day one, which is the first time I've done that for probably 15 years. I know, might have to pay 70 quid for a game. What the hell?
Jesus, are there any like?
I voted Labour. What is this?
It's Cameron's Britain. He's not been the Prime Minister for years, Dan. Shut up. It's not. I'll see how you enjoy it, and I think your enthusiasm after one day with that game will probably be telling. Because if you turn around to me and you go, you know what, I'm not playing FIFA tonight, I'm just going to play Veilguard, I'll be like, all right.
I wouldn't do that. No,
Well,
I'll do that in my own time.
You've done it. We did it with Rocket League before when you played the original God of War, and I think you played that for a week straight and completed it. Yeah, we didn't play Rocket League as much during that patch because I actually got some other gaming done.
Right.
Because that's my gaming time that you eat into, but you don't have kids, so you're able to play normal games and then play social games. I don't get the luxury of doing that. Okay, so yeah, I'll wait for your reaction. I'll see what it's like after a day. If you
Well, when I stop playing it, I'll lend you the disc.
yeah, or that might probably be a better sensible idea.
I haven't played Dragon's Dogma 2 yet.
I've got it and I haven't opened it, so you can have that if you want for a bit. Tide you over, but I'd be worried about them because again, there seems like a lot very similar or tonally similar games.
Yeah.
And the problem is, like, if you get one that isn't as good gameplay wise as like one that you're enjoying, do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's a bit of a letdown for like the 70 odd quid that you might spend.
We should ask Max about that, because Max was big on Dragon's Dogma, wasn't it? Wasn't he, when it came out? So we should really ask him.
I think he got lost on the character creation screen for.
Did he?
Yeah, for a while.
Is it too flexible?
It was.
I hate that. I just want them to give me, like, that's why I like Mass Effect, because Commander Shepard, you just look at him and just go, that's who I'm going to be.
Or her.
You could do the female one as well. I didn't do that because I wanted somebody that I was going to resonate with, and that was probably going to be a male father figure, because obviously mine abandoned me. So I went I went straight for Commander Shepard instead. And to be fair, when you see a lot of the content online of Mass Effect, you see the default characters. I don't think I'm alone in that.
No, not at all. Like, that's the whole point.
I like that. It's just like, do you want this guy? We think he's great. Do you want him, or do you want to make your own?
Yeah, I know.
Rather than, here's 8 presets and they're all so varied. You're like, here's a lizard character, and here's a humanoid character.
Yeah, I don't care. I used to care when it was like wrestling games, and you could do like a character creation in that, or like even in the old FIFAs where you could put your face in it and stuff like that. Made more sense to me. Even now in EFC, when you kind of like, you're able to make your player look like a clown if you wanted to, and
or like Matt,
that as well.
Which looks very much like him.
It does look a lot like him, but with glasses on that and better hair. So it's like,
and he can run.
Yeah, and he can play football. All interesting things. But anyway, so I think, I'd like Dragon Age Veilguard to be a success, more so for BioWare as well, because I feel like they've had a bit of a stinker in recent memory. They need a win. And a good BioWare is good for the industry. So let's see. Day one. When's that coming out?
Fall.
Full.
October 31st, I think they said.
Oh, really? Okay. Oh, yeah. So, a couple of months. Yeah, decent. Well, you get through God of War until then.
I'll be finished soon.
Still don't know what to start. I was thinking of Red Dead Redemption 2. Either that, Ragnarok was on there, the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and what was the other one I was looking at? Yeah.
Have you finished Forbidden West?
No, barely even started it. But borrow that if you want.
I've got it.
Okay. Yeah, it went down super cheap at one point, didn't it?
Hence why I bought it.
Hence why you got it. I know, yeah. Because you're cheap. Speaking of cheap, hey, we've got 2 deals. I'm not going to fib. Karl picked mine for me. So he has picked Bioshock Remastered, which you can get for £1.29 on Steam. Deal expires today as we're recording, which is Monday, so it'll be dead by the time that you listen to this.
It's probably free on Game Pass and PS Plus anyway.
Yeah, very good point. Very good point. So you can.
But you never know when they're going to pull the games. So having it in your library is important.
Exactly. Game ownership, super important.
Would you kindly buy it?
Would you kindly get that, please? Oh, what a twist! Actually, also includes Bioshock Remastered as well. So,
yeah.
So you can Bioshock includes Bioshock Remastered. There you go. Karl, what have you gone for?
I picked the game that you've just shat on, which is Mass Effect Andromeda, the deluxe Recruit Edition.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Because I think for £3.50, it's fine. It's not as good as the other Mass Effect games, but what can be as good as the best game ever? Nothing. It's like Dave Portnoy does on his pizza reviews. He says nothing can be a 10. It's like figure skating rules. Nothing can be a 10, because then
that'd be perfect.
What if something's better? You can never. So Mass Effect 2 is a 10. Is a 9.9. What is Andromeda? I don't know. A 7, a 6. I don't know, but I think it's worthwhile for that. If you've never played it,
definitely agree.
We had to find them in a rush. So
we did. But yeah, £3.49 for a game that came out a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
not bad for the deluxe version of it as well.
If it was me, I wouldn't even bother. I'd just get the Mass Effect Legendary Edition where they remastered 1, 2, and 3.
Good point. I did buy that because I was like, I need to go back and play them because obviously
that's
never finished.
Cracking for the deck. On the deck, that's great because it looks slightly better, and it runs perfectly well.
Yeah, and if I squint a bit, it might look like a good game.
You squint quite a lot.
I do. Tiny eyes. Well, this has been Casual Mode episode 2. Karl, anything else you want to go through before we finish?
Can we discuss the pedestrianisation of Norwich City Centre?
What an amazing time for it to pause. Do you say no?
Sorry. Can we? We're gonna have to go back and edit. You can edit that now because I did say it on my one, but you didn't hear it on yours.
Come on, what'd you say?
Karl, can we talk about?
Karl, anything else you want to bring up before we go?
Yes, I'd like to discuss the pedestrianisation of Norwich City Centre.
Okay. All right. So this is episode 2, every Friday on YouTube and Spotify. I think I'm going to get this one on Spotify today and try and get it onto another couple of different podcast channels based on a couple of guys requesting it there. Please tell your friends and keep it casual.
Have you got any?
What? Casual friends?
No, have you got any friends?
We've got friends. Loads. Dwindling by the day. Bye.
Bye-bye.